Hello, 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 hello. Hello, my beauty. How are you this beautiful, wonderful, blessed Sunday afternoon? Huh? How are you? I hope you're doing well. Well, it is Sunday, June 7th, 2020, and you are watching Omega Live with JJ, Woman Without Borders. Yes, I thank you so much for spending this afternoon with me. You could have been otherwise, I know that, but you have chosen to be with me, and I really appreciate it. So, right now, I'm going to ask you to call a friend, okay? And your loved ones. All your loved ones, tell them to come and watch this program right now, right? Remember, guys, to like, share, and comment. When you comment while the program is going on, I can respond to you, right? Meanwhile, the program is going on. So feel free to comment while the program is going on, okay? And like my thumbs up. Don't forget my thumbs up. That's what you do when you like the program. You give it a thumbs up. Absolutely. And also remember to share the link and subscribe. Do not forget to subscribe, guys. You have to subscribe to the YouTube channel, okay? Omega News, okay? And remember, I'm on social media, other social media sites, that is Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Omega News JA, right? You can go over there and you can also like, comment, and share the link with your friends and family. Okay, thank you so very much. Guys, remember that I'm a student of knowledge just like you, okay? My fellow students of knowledge. And knowledge is nothing if it is not shared, right? You have to share knowledge, it has to be applied. And so share the link with your friends and family. Okay, guys, as you know, I was off yesterday, so there's just so much information to give to you today, right? Not gonna give you everything today because there's just so much in my little 1 hour program. Yeah, and so I'm gonna be carrying forward some into tomorrow. So what I have done is I've taken out the ones that I think are more time sensitive for today's news, and we'll save some for tomorrow. You don't want to miss tomorrow's program at midday. Remember, tomorrow is the 8th of June, and many things are happening starting tomorrow, including the fact that our teenagers, right, our young people who are sitting their CTEC exams will be going back to school tomorrow. Yeah, absolutely. And say, all to all my friends and family, and even those who I don't know, who are going back to school tomorrow to do your refresher. You're going to be doing your refresher, right? Because, COVID-19 prevented you from going to school and you missed 2 weeks of classes in terms of note taking and so on and so forth. And so you're going to be getting all that information starting tomorrow, right? And it will continue until July 3rd, right? Until July 3rd, when you will be able to catch up, do your refresher, right? And prepare for your CXC and your CAPE exams. And I wish you all the best. We'll be praying for you guys out there as you go and do your exams. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Mwah. Yeah. Okay. So, of course, lots more to talk about with that in the days to come, guys, because I'm hearing so many stories about schools not ready and all manner of stuff. But we already just talked about that extensively last week and week before, right? And so I will reserve commenting further until I get more information to give to you in the week, in the days to come in this week. Today, the first of the week, right? Mhm. All right, guys, you know my spiel by now. I got to give you some big data, right? I have to start my program with my COVID news, as you know, and I segue into other news items. Right. So let me give you the big data, and then I give you my 2 cents. Of course, so because I wasn't on yesterday, it's going to be a compound, right? A combined figures, combined data for Friday and into Saturday, right? Absolutely. So Jamaica now has 596 confirmed cases of the coronavirus disease COVID-19, according to press releases issued by the Ministry of Health and Wellness. The 5 new cases over the last 48 hours are a 41-year-old male from St. Catherine who is a contact of a confirmed case, 3 crew members from the Adventure of the Seas cruise ship, and another from the MS Marino. There are 4 males and 1 female. So let me give you some more information concerning that. Look at more details, right, to put things in context. So, according to what we are told, guys, so they had the 4 imported cases, excuse me, from one from the MS Marino, three from the Adventure of the Seas cruise ship. They both came to the Falmouth Pier, where we were told that there was no COVID-19 on them, right? And every day we get more information, and there are more confirmed cases. Yeah. Those persons, guys, three of them are from St. Anne. So three of them are from the parish of St. Anne, and one is from the parish of Trelawney. Those are those four that you got for Friday evening, right? Into Saturday. Right. Their age ranges from 35 to 46 years of age, right? And then yesterday, news came of one more, excuse me, one more person, excuse me. Sorry about that, guys. A second, please. I'm gonna drink my water. Huh? Mm, mm. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What is good for you guys? Good for you. What is medicine? Absolutely. So as I was saying now, so with the one new case that we have, making it now 596, right, is the 41-year-old with a contact of a confirmed case from St. Catherine, right? Okay, so to date, they have done 14,223 samples, and as I said, 596 confirmed positive, with 13,595 testing negative. The recovery rate has been increasing. Also, they had 17 recovery, and then they had an additional 19 recovery. So the first one was 385, so now a total recovery of 404 persons have recovered from the COVID-19, guys. So that brings the number, based on the data, the number of contacts of confirmed cases are now 218, because it was 217. And then that one St. Catherine, the 41-year-old from St. Catherine, 41-year-old male, make it now 218 that are contacts of confirmed cases. Uh, so, of course, that now brings to 341 the number of females, and 255 the total number of males. Of course, that also means that we have now imported cases of 96. So our numbers have increased to 96, the total number of imported cases, almost reaching the 100 mark, guys. 96. And we still have the two persons critically ill in the hospital, non moderately ill. So, we got to pray for those two that are critically ill in the hospital. Uh, all the other numbers basically stay the same, uh, that I had given to you before, right? Absolutely. And since we're on big data, let me just tell you. Okay, so now we have a total of 110,000 deaths in the US. Yeah, up to 110,000 overall in Europe, guys. All the combined European Union, European countries, 175,000. Okay, and then we have worldwide a total number of 6.9 million, almost 7 million persons worldwide have contracted the COVID 19, with over 400,000 deaths worldwide. Over 400,000 deaths worldwide. Mhm. So that is the number for my um, big data people. Excuse me. Of course, meanwhile, the Medical Association of Jamaica, they are categorically against tourists coming to Jamaica without testing for COVID-19. According to the association, the government should reconsider its position on the matter and to stay on a path that incorporates sound medical principles. The MAJ argues that the relatively low number of COVID-19 cases in Jamaica is the result of hard work and expenditure by the government, as well as sacrifices made by Jamaicans. All of these heroic efforts were based on sound public health principles, and abandonment of these principles now will likely result in a reversal of the gains made in the last 3 months, a spokesperson at MAJ said in a statement. While recognizing that the economy must be reopened, and while recognizing that the said reopening has to include welcoming visitors and returning residents to our shores, the reopening of our economy must be done in a manner that includes the adherence to sound public health principles. The MAJ notes with grave concern that the recent announcement by the Prime Minister that tourists and other non-nationals coming to Jamaica as of June 15 will not be required to be tested for COVID-19. Okay, you guys know my view on that, so not much to comment on that because I think we're both on the same page where that is concerned. And I've already voiced my opinion. And if I'm not heard, you can go back into my library, guys, and go and watch my previous episodes, right? Continuing the news, an 11-year-old girl is in hospital after being shot in Arnett Gardens, St. Andrew. The shooting occurred on Friday afternoon near a section of the community called Mexico. Mexico. No? According to the child's grandmother, Annette Johnson, she was on her way to buy a drink at a nearby shop when she was shot. Gunmen reportedly entered to the community and opened fire indiscriminately. Quote, I was inside when she said she wanted juice from next door. Her mother gave her $100 to buy the juice. I was in the house when I hear shot a fire, she told the cleaner. By the time it come out, come look, me see her a walk and come and say she get shot. They were firing wildly. She's now in the hospital. The grandmother continued. Guys, let us pray for this 11-year-old girl. You notice how many of our children are getting shot by gunmen? Mm? This is getting out of control, Yeah. These are the things that we really want to see a lot of advocacy for. Yeah. We had Child Month in May. Now it's June, but it is still Child Month. Yeah. It is still Child Month. Every month is a Child Month. We have to protect our children. They are the future. You understand? You see what's happening now in our society. All these adults, they were children once. You understand? They say train up a child in the way it should grow when it will not depart. So all we're seeing today, you understand, is a symptom of our lack of parenting skills. You understand? Improper parenting skills. Yeah, because what people are not spending the time to train their children. They get lazy. You understand? Because it takes effort, to raise a child. It's not easy. It takes effort. It takes a lot of effort to discipline a child. You understand? It takes a lot of effort. But what we do, we're extremists. We're from one extreme to the other. We either don't discipline the child at all, or we go to the other extreme of actually abusing that child. You understand? There's no middle ground. We don't know how to find that middle ground. You understand? And all this violence in our society, guys, it is destroying the lives of our mentally, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because if we understood, you understand the importance of what we are doing in terms of taking care of our children or the lack thereof, then we wouldn't do the thing that we do sometimes. You understand? If these gunmen were coming into the communities and shooting up the community, if they understood what they were doing, then we wouldn't have this situation like what happened with this 11-year-old girl. You understand? But they don't think. They're not thinking, right? They're not thinking at all, because I'm sure they didn't just go into the community to shoot this 11-year-old girl. But in the process, this 11-year-old child get shot and is now in the hospital battling for her life. Huh? Well, we don't know she's battling for her life, but she's in the hospital for sure because of gunshot wounds. Yeah. Guys, these are the things I want to see you advocating for. I want to see advocacy for these things for our children, advocacy for our children. Yeah. Not seeing enough of it. Really not seeing enough of it. Yeah. Okay. I want to continue with the news. I have an issue here with my memory, guys. 1 second. I'm telling you, the memory situation on my phone is just. I try to delete, delete, but there's something that I just can't delete. And as a result of which, I am really needing. So let me delete, delete, so I can continue, so I can open up my files. Yeah. Okay. So, oh, all right. So let me continue. So, guys, I'm gonna get back to that news that I want to give to you in a second. Yeah. I was reading the Sunday paper today, and I was reading the editorial. And sometimes I don't necessarily agree with the editorial, but it so happened that this morning, as I was reading the editorial, I actually do agree with the editor in this particular case, although I read some inaccurate information in it, actually about this misinformation, But by and large, I want to read this editorial for you guys. It was the editorial in today's Gleaner. It says, hold prison boss and court registrars criminally liable, basically referring to what happened with Noel Chambers, right? The 40-year, the mentally ill man who was incarcerated for 40 years. If indeed the cliche about the definition of madness is true, the editorial says, then the folks in the law enforcement and criminal justice system are crazier than the mentally ill people who keep getting lost in the prison system. They continuously do the same thing without noticing or even caring. It seems that nothing changes. This newspaper has a cure for the problem. They should be held criminally liable for their shortcomings, including being charged at least for manslaughter. When between the cracks inmates die in jail and a case can be made that their neglect or other failings on the job contributed to their death. Further, the prosecution of each offences with regard to officials in the correctional systems or police officers should be the responsibility of the Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM, in keeping with powers that Parliament should confer on the agency, as well as its amendment to other relevant laws. Given the doctrine of the separation of powers, the court should also determine procedures for disciplining judicial officers, including registrars of courts, when they fail to fulfill their obligations to citizens. With respect to this group and their oversight of remanded defendants who are unfit to plead, and their oversight of, the accountability must begin with transparency. Repeat the sentence. With respect to this group and their oversight of remanded defendants who are unfit to plead, the accountability must begin with transparency. Chief Justice Brian Sykes should forthwith order the publication in the press and on the Supreme Court's website of the monthly status reports on such prisoners the Commissioner of Corrections, former Army officer Lieutenant Colonel Gary Rowe, is supposed to submit to the court. We take these recommendations in light of, we made this recommendation in light of last week's disclosure by Indecom's Commissioner Terence Williams of the death in prison last January of 81-year-old Noel Chambers, his emaciated body riddled with bed sores and bug bites. Mr. Chambers was in jail for 40 years, but was never convicted of a crime. His mental state made him unfit to plead, and the system forgot about him. Noel James' case isn't the only one. According to Mr. Williams, at the time of his agency's review, there were 146 people with mental illnesses and apparently unable to plead in the correctional system. At least 13 have been there for more than 30 years. Actually, the number is actually 15. Okay. None of this, of course, is a secret. A cursory search of this newspaper's archives will produce several stories in recent years of prisoners being released after decades without trial because of the effort of human rights lawyers. Among them, a year ago, was Walter Blackstock, a 61-year-old schizophrenic and ex-policeman who was in jail for 32 years. He was originally charged for murder. Also released in 2019 was Robert Robin, who languished for 17 years without trial after his arrest for simple larceny. He was accused of stealing yams. Hmm? On the face of it, people have not been doing their jobs. Section 25D of the Criminal Justice Administration Act obligates the Commissioner of Corrections to each month provide to the court a report on the condition of defendants on remand because of their inability to plead. Listen to this carefully, guys. This is why I'm reading it to you. These reports are to be reviewed by, as the case may be, judges of the Supreme Court or parish court who, based on their content, quote, shall give such directions as he thinks fit, unquote. Further, the law requires that the registrars of these courts register those remanded persons and, quote, bring to the attention of the court any failure to submit a report, end quote, within 7 days of it becoming due. Listen carefully, guys. The court, in such circumstances, can require that the Commissioner of Corrections explain the failure, including being made to do so on the oath in court. That sounds serious, unfortunately, That is as far as it goes. The law provides no sanctions, except perhaps in the case of the Commissioner of Corrections, the embarrassment of being called before a judge to explain its tardiness, its lateness. It does nothing to a court registrar who may have been complicit in remanded prisoners falling between the cracks when they fail to report tardy commissioners of corrections. That is why, in the case of the Department of Correctional Services, whose offices are already within the purview of INDECOM's oversight, Mr. Williams' agency should be given the authority to prosecute a malingering boss who fails to fulfill his legal obligations. With regard to court registrars, Chief Justice Brian Sykes should tell us how he intends to hold to account those who don't do their jobs. The end. Nothing um, to comment on, guys. I think that is self-explanatory. Like I said, that editorial is exactly in line and aligned with my views. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the front page, the front page of the green. Let me show you. This is the front page of it. Can you see it? This is the front page of the Gleaner today, guys. Yeah. It's the big headline on the front page. How healthy is my MP? How healthy is my MP? Huh. So let me give you the story. Yeah. So they come a calling through every nook and cranny across the island, encircled with a multitude of merry bandsmen, ushering them through communities many have never visited before. And I can tell you for a fact that I know that. You see, their aim to convince you, the public, to give them a mandate to represent you as the island tackles its most pressing issues. They promise openness, transparency, right? And always present you your interest fully. They pledge prosperity and progress and vow to stand shoulder to shoulder with you in difficult times in return for that all important X factor. But when their vigor, and vitality wane, and they are sometimes unable to attend critical meetings and sittings in the House of Representatives for weeks or months, or when they may be afflicted by illnesses which render them physically incapable of living up to their pledges. Do you have a right to know? Or is it a private matter? How much time off should they be allowed from the people's business? So, I'm going to give you some perspective on this. So, the curtain on a new era of transparency in public service appeared ready to be lifted when 3 months before his February 2016 election win, then opposition leader Andrew Holness promised to publicly release his health records. Did you know that, guys? That our Prime Minister, the Honorable Andrew Holness, before he won the 2016 election, he had promised to release his health records. So the Holness-led Jamaica Labour Party rests the reins of government from the People's National Party, PNP, but 4 years later, and the march towards another general elections gathering pace, he is yet to make good on his commitment. So to date, our Prime Minister has not fulfilled his promise to release his health records. So we do not have his health records, according to this article that I'm reading. Yeah? Now, lawmakers from both sides of the political divide are backing the establishment of a mechanism for political representatives to make health status disclosures, ending the culture of privacy. There is no legal obligation for political representatives to make any health declaration, which means there is no guidance on when it is appropriate for one to step down or resign due to ill health. In the private sector, medicals are mandatory for some jobs. Yeah, especially if you're holding senior positions. And government member of parliament, Leslie Campbell, said, since taxpayers are the employers of government officials, they should be privy to such information. Quoting him, you are really saying to the voting population, I am fit enough to carry out the job which you are electing me for, the St. Catherine Northeast MP said. For the electorate to be entitled to such information is not unreasonable. agreed Fitz Jackson, chairman of the opposition PNP, although he believed the requirements should not be as strict as integrity filings. Gossip can also be curtailed with a disclosure framework, he said. The Integrity Commission Act outlines a framework mandating parliamentarians and some public officials earning above a certain amount to submit an annual statutory declaration of assets, liabilities, and income. For some officials, the information must cover their spouses and children. Unlike Juliet Cuthbert Flynn, the Olympian turned politician, Jackson does not believe anyone should be excluded. So I'm going to quote now Miss Flynn, Mrs. Flynn. She says, I do a physical every year just for me personally, and I think everybody should do one. But I don't think there should be a criteria for MPs. I wouldn't be opposed to something like that for the persons who are going to be possibly leading us, like the Prime Minister and the leader of the opposition, she said. Mark Golding, on the other hand, a former Justice Minister, contends that lawmakers should not be legally required to do anything because somebody's medical condition is their personal business. If they have any serious medical complaints that could affect their ability to serve, then I think they should disclose that. But I think that should be more a matter of moral suasion and political suasion rather than compelled by law. Okay. The use of the information by political enemies and the treatment by media must also be considered. And this coming from Professor Denise Eldemeyer Shearer, physician and professor of public health at the University of West Indies, UA. What are the diseases that can impact your performance, your delivery to the constituency? We need guidelines on what would be disclosed. Recent history, past history, she asked. You don't want to go into everything that happened when you were a teenager. Do you want to disclose an HIV diagnosis? The expert on aging is the widow of former Prime Minister Hugh Shearer, who died in 2004. Now, this is the reason it becomes relevant. This is why it becomes relevant. He became head of government in April 67, after Donald Sangster died of a brain hemorrhage 2 months into taking the job. Did you know that? Yeah, that Donald Sangster died after becoming the Prime Minister. 2 months into the post, he died. Yeah. Okay. Interestingly, Sangster was first appointed to act in the role in 1965 after Sir Alexander Bustamante, the first Prime Minister of independent Jamaica, fell ill. So he wasn't able to do the job either, right? Because of illness. The public learned of the illnesses afflicting some of these leaders and recent ones at differing stages, which gives impetus to question of when the answer for which could come with an established framework. Eldemeyer Shearer insists, though, that while the electorate has some entitlement to information, any disclosure should come after diagnosis and initial treatment. That is her solution to the problem. You need to allow the family and that individual to go through the emotional trauma of that process before you bring the public into it. The disclosure problem is compounded. A finance ministry official who does not want to be, who doesn't want his name to be in the article said, because some officials fear losing health and financial benefits if their status becomes known and it is perceived they cannot function optimally. They do not want to disclose their health records. All parliamentarians, including ministers, receive insurance coverage. In one high-profile case, the personal doctor for the late French President Francois Mitterrand revealed in a 1996 book that the leader concealed his prostate cancer diagnosis for 14 years of his presidency, and that most of his health records declarations were false. For 14 years, he gave false declaration, the French president. Did you know that? The Jamaican Constitution has provisions for when a prime minister or ministers have to pause their duties temporarily because of illnesses. But there's no regime for disclosure, and there's no example to be drawn from within the Caribbean community. Democratic leaders adhere to a convention of disclosure at the point when the illness becomes severe. Constitutional expert Dr. Lloyd Barney said, but he wants the authorities here to go further and establish some set of protocols to entrench public accountability. In the US, they may offer some guidance through as sorry, though as although not legally required, in the US it's not legally required, high profile politicians have been disclosing health information for decades. So they're saying that there could be a precedent that they could actually follow the US example. Thank you for my thumbs up, guys. Thank you for my thumbs up. I know you enjoy the program. Good. Thank you. Okay. Two recent events, the passing of Labour and Social Security Minister Shahini Robinson and the disclosure by opposition leader Dr. Peter Phillips that he had surgery for colon cancer, have triggered the latest discussions surrounding health disclosures by leaders. Robinson was ailing for a while, which saw her missing numerous parliamentary and cabinet meetings. And some members of Phillips' party have reportedly sought to weaponize his illness, questioning his ability to focus on his health while leading the PNP through the coronavirus crisis and the possibility of an early general election. Steering clear of those cases, however, Helene Davis White, president of the Jamaica Confederate of Trade Unions, which comprises the unions representing over 40,000 workers, said, not knowing how the electorate will respond to the information would be a bother for some politicians. Listen to this guy, I'm going to quote her. Listen to this, I'm going to quote her. Persons who are casting a vote, if they feel that the person that they are casting the vote for is not likely to complete the term, then it's very likely that they would not cast the vote for that individual. And that may be one of the reasons politicians are a little wary of letting their health status be known. Yeah? And I will stop there. All right. Oh, let me not stop there. Let me give you one last paragraph for that. I'm going to give you on that particular subject, right? So, according to Sir Howard Mitchell, the chairman of the Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal, which tracks government breaches, right? He's back in the protocol, but just for politicians with significant national posts, such as cabinet ministers. He says, until we get an organization that is flatter and where power is more evenly distributed, I think that those at the top of the pyramid have an obligation to the public to disclose not only their ability to function financially, but also that they are healthy. And I agree with him 100% on that note, guys. Yeah. And you heard me say it, right? Because, and I'm glad that this is why I'm reading it for you guys, because this is my view. I was actually saying that to you guys last week when we heard about the minister, Shani Robinson's death, and how soon after we were told about her illness, she died, which means it has been there for a while, and we found out it was there for over 2 years. And she has not been attending meetings and so on and so forth. That means she has not been representing her people. She has not been representing the people who have voted for her, right? The electorate. And she has and she was not able to function, and no one was told about it. Mm-hmm. So the question came up. I mean, should we know? Is it public information? Of course, it's public information. Yeah, there are certain things, as was said in the article that you heard me read, that when you're a teenager, I mean, if something happens to you when you're a teenager, you don't have to disclose that. If it's something that will not come forward today to affect you, if it has no adverse effect on you today while you're functioning, it will not prevent you from functioning in your position, then fine. We don't have to know about that. But if it is that you're doing, that in the process of doing your job, your illness is going to impede you from doing it, then of course the public must be told about this. But you've heard some of the reasons that I've given it. These are opinions, guys. We don't know for sure, so we're giving our opinions, right? So we heard the opinions that it could be that persons do not want to disclose their health status because they do not want to lose that vote. So there it is, right? So you'd rather have the vote than representing the people. It's not about representing the people, it's about getting the vote. Because if it is that you care about the people more than you care about the vote, then you disclose to the people that, guess what? This is what is happening. I'm ailing from so and so and so. You understand? However, I do not think it will really affect my ability to do my job, or leave it in the hands of the people to decide. Okay, even though you might not be 100% healthy, we will still vote for you because we love you and we think you can do the job. Yeah, but do not take it away from us, right? It is our duty to know. Absolutely, right? Guys, if you agree with me, give me a thumbs up. Let me see a thumbs up if you're agreeing with what I'm saying here. Yeah, let me see a thumbs up. Yeah. Okay, guys. Man, I have some groups that I'm in, and they fill up my box with videos and all kind of stuff that I don't even get a chance to look through. So I don't want to delete them, or I can't delete them, and then it makes my memory full. And then when I'm supposed to do what I need to do, I can't get to do it because my memory is full. So here it is. I'm trying to open this story for you, and I can't open it because my memory is full, right? Okay. Let me delete. Yeah. Huh. Need more memory. Need a new phone. Is what I need. Anyways. Okay. So continuing with the news, guys. Continue with the news. Okay. I want to get to this. I want to get to this story here. All right. So yeah, and I want your opinion on this, guys. A serial rapist who was ordered to serve 38 years in prison for each of the 8 women he victimized over a 6-week span has had his sentence slashed in half. You heard me right? Yeah. Patrick Green, 33, was initially sentenced to a total of 499 years in prison after he pleaded guilty in the Clarendon Circuit Court in December 2014, that's 6 years ago, right? Almost 6 years ago, to 8 counts of rape, 8 counts of illegal possession of firearm, 5 counts of robbery with aggravation, and 2 counts of grievous sexual assault. He was arrested and charged after he admitted to police investigators that he was responsible for a string of rapes in the Clarendon communities of Savannah Cross and Palmer's Cross, including 2 in one night between July 9th and August 21st, the previous year, 2013. Green told cops that he had developed a hatred for women because his spouse ended their relationship and would not let him see his child. In addition to his sentence for rape, Justice Sarah Thompson James, who presided over the case, ordered that Green should serve 10 years for each count of illegal possession of firearm. The gun used in the crime turned out to be fake. He was also sentenced to 15 years for each count of robbery with aggravation and 20 years for each count of grievous sexual assault. The sentence were to be served simultaneously. The charge of grievous sexual assault was based on evidence that 2 of the women were forced at gunpoint to perform a sex act on Green. However, in a ruling handed down last week, the Court of Appeal ordered that the confessed serial rapist should instead serve 19 years and 6 months for each count of rape and 14 years for each count of grievous sexual assault. For the offense of rape, the judges explained that they started at a sentence of 20 years on each count instead of the 38 imposed by Thompson James, then subtracted a 30% discount for Green's guilty plea. So because he pleaded guilty, them take off some of it. A 30% discount was subtracted from the original 20-year sentence. Hmm. In addition, Jamaica's second highest court also ordered that the serial rapist serve a minimum of 10 years before being eligible for parole instead of the 30-year minimum period stipulated by Thompson James, and that the clock on his sentence should start counting from December 19th, 2014. So he would have done already 5 years into that 10 years, which means another 5 years plus he would be eligible for parole according to this new um, What am I saying? Continuing. My thought just went a while ago, sorry. Green had challenged both sentences on the ground that they were manifestly excessive. He did not contest the sentences imposed for illegal possession of the firearm and robbery's aggravation. Seeking to explain their decision, the panel of three appeal court judges who heard Green's legal challenge pointed to at least three errors by Thompson John James in her approach to sentencing. A social inquiry report produced at Green's sentencing hearing in 2014 detailed a number of, quote, dysfunctional relationships with women and his, quote, chaotic and unstable family life, which included 3 suicide attempts and chronic use of ganja and crack cocaine. It also revealed that the female who gave birth to two of his children was under the statutory age of consent at the time, resulting in his conviction of carnal abuse and a 2 year probationary period. The 2014 report indicated that he expressed deep remorse for the wrongs he had done and acknowledged that he was not yet ready to return to society. The panel of appeal court judges in their decision said it seemed clear from Thompson James' remarks during the sentencing hearing that she did not utilize a methodical approach to determining Green's punishment and that not much consideration was given to the possibility of rehabilitation. I must tell you also that in arriving at a just and appropriate sentence, the court must look at the interests of society and strike a balance when considering what sentence the court has to impose. In some cases, the protection of society is an overwhelming consideration. Thompson James was quoted as saying during the sentencing hearing, according to court transcripts. The appeal court judges acknowledged that she made a passing reference to redemption, but said it is clear that her primary focus was on the public interest and what she described as the, quote, protection of society, in quote. And before I give you my 2 cents on that, guys, I want to read briefly a little piece um, of this guest columnist, Patrick Scotland, wrote this article up here in the Gleno about domestic violence, the hidden pandemic. And I'm going to read something else to you in a second. But let me read this first. Waking up to screams, thuds, hungry shouting, and the sickening sound of someone crashing into a wall, a table, a door. This is the cruel reality of many children and young people across our Commonwealth. As economies, as economies, institutions, and social welfare sectors continue to buckle under the strain of the unprecedented COVID-19 pandemic crisis, there is a dangerous escalation in the risk to the millions of people caught in the clutches of domestic and gender-based violence. Emerging evidence of the impact of essential lockdown measures and the economic fallout of the pandemic on gender-based and domestic violence to a frightening paints a frightening picture. The crisis has led to an alarming escalation of violence in the home, with women bearing the brunt of the frustration and anger. In some areas, there have been reports of women being prevented from even seeing doctors and female doctors being spat on while testing other women for COVID-19. The article continues, but I want to make a point. So, okay. And, or meanwhile, the Minister of National Security, Dr. Horace Chang, is condemning the killing of a Manchester mom, Shanna-Lee Bailey, during a domestic dispute in the community of Hearties in Mandeville, Manchester. Chang, in a statement, noted that domestic violence, which perpetuates cycles of criminal and violent activities, has been under the ministry's radar for some time. It is alleged, he said, under the government stay-at-home order, that there has been an increased level of interpersonal violence as well as human trafficking, and we are sensitizing our police officers to deal with these issues, he said. He added that the ministry is moving towards increased social intervention programs in targeted communities and schools to promote peace management initiatives among citizens. We are even remodeling our police stations to include an interview room where reports of domestic violence or possible case of domestic violence may be discussed privately, Dr. Chang says. In extending condolences to the family of the deceased, Dr. Chang says tragedies of this kind are heart-rending, and with the aid of the security forces, justice will be served. And the last piece of that, before I give you my 2 cents, that I want you to to um to read to you guys is uh, these are accounts of women who have been they were not raped, but they were abducted for the purpose of either rape or human trafficking. Carla Brown, not her real name, was abducted from her corporate area home a few years ago. These days, getting a good night's rest isn't an easy task, and by 4 a.m., she's usually wide awake and alert. The little sound gets me frightened, she says. I would shake, and my heart would beat so fast that I feel like I'm getting a heart attack, she told the Sunday Gleaner. She also said she had to deal with upset stomach and loss of appetite. And whenever a male approaches her, she gets terrified. Carla's ordeal started when she awoke one early morning to the presence of an unmasked young man standing over her bed with a chopper from her kitchen in his hand. He told me not to make a sound. I looked out of the corner of my eye and saw another man at my daughter's room door with two long knives, one in each hand. The men proceeded to remove several items from her home, which they packed into her car. They then forced her to go with them to an ATM to withdraw funds from her account. She was ordered into the driver's seat. One of the abductors sat beside her in the front, while the other sat in the back, holding the chopper at her neck. I proceeded to the security barrier, the one behind me stretched across and wound down my window to my chin. When the security saw my face, he opened the barrier and I exited the complex. So she lived in a gated community. Yeah? This happened to her, guys, in a gated community. On leaving the compound, one of the robbers took control of the car and placed her in the back where she was blindfolded. They stopped at a house and invited another man to join them to go to the ATM, but he was left behind because the vehicle couldn't hold. They drove to another location where they unloaded the stolen items. On their way to the ATM, the kidnappers got into an altercation with another motorist. Carla heard what appeared to be a gunshot, presumably fired by the robbers, as their conversation afterwards suggested. The robbers then sped off and crashed. A tire was blown out, but they continued driving nonetheless until the car came to a sudden halt. She then heard the doors open and closed. After 2 minutes, she said, I removed the blindfold and realized that I was alone in the car. After surveying her surroundings, she recognized that she was across the road from her residence. The worried mother ran home, relieved to find her daughter physically unarmed. She relocated the next day and has since installed a home security system. Carla believed that remaining calm and complying with the directive of the robbers saved her life. To date, there has been no breakthrough in the case, and none of her possessions have ever been recovered. Guys, yeah. Since COVID-19, and I hear, this is one of the things I hear people say all the time. People always say things like, oh, people change, or they can get money, you have money, and then you change. And I keep telling people all the time, it's not that people change. Circumstances alter cases. The persons are able to show their true color, you understand that, and show their true selves based on circumstances. Remember how I told you how COVID-19, it brings out the best in us or the worst in us? That's exactly what it is. It's what's already in you, It's already in you guys. It's already there. And because of the circumstances, you understand, that determine how you act out, how you respond to an event, for example. Yeah. Here it is. Since COVID-19, we have heard that the domestic violence cases have increased. We have also heard that there are even now more divorces, as a result of COVID-19, right? What COVID-19 has actually done, is not that it has caused you to decide you're going to divorce your wife or divorce your husband. It's only put you in a situation where you're now showing your true self. You understand? In terms of you were with the person, but because you had to go to work maybe, and you were not seeing each other often enough or whatever, you did not get a chance to actually deal with this situation in terms of whatever issues you were experiencing in that marriage. You understand? Or that common law relationship that you were having. And so as a result of which, know that you were forced now to live with the person, see the person every day, 24/7, because you were on lockdown and you had to stay home. So now you are able to see the person for who they really are. You understand? Guys, domestic violence is never a good thing. And it is time that we start to see persons actually speaking up against these things. You understand? It's too long, too long, too long, and too often we're reading and hearing about cases where our women are being victimized by our men. You understand? Too long we have been hearing about women being sexually assaulted, physically assaulted, verbally assaulted. You understand me? You have mental abuse, emotional abuse also. You get what I'm saying to you guys? Yeah? And that is counter to what our Father God wants of us. You understand? He specifically stated, you see, when he made man, he made a woman as an helpmeet for that man. You understand? You heard, if you're for those who believe in the Bible, the scripture says when it describes creation, right? That God took a rib out of Adam's took a bone out of Adam's rib when he was creating woman, right? And the psalmist David says, we are so, when you look at woman, we are so beautifully and wonderfully made. Solomon write the book of Solomon, and when he describe women, you guys need to read your Bible, right? It's a good book to read. Whether you believe in it or not, it's a good book to read. You understand? And when you read and understand and you know, and many of you, you know, because I've seen situations where guys, you gone ahead and you have abused the woman or you have killed her and turn around and kill yourself. Why? Because you can't do without her. Because that is how it was created. Men cannot do without women, and women cannot do without men either. Really, we need each other. We complement each other. We each serve our own particular purpose and our function in the society. You understand? But too many times we tend to think that violence is the answer to our problems. You understand? And instead of talk out things, guys, you know what it is, and I have had this conversation with persons before many times. Some people are afraid of arguments. And let me say something about that as I'm on the subject. Nothing is wrong with having an argument, guys. Okay? An argument is a word for a debate. You can have constructive arguments, right? It's a debate. You have different opinions and you express yourself and you express your views because with seven brothers, seven different minds, we all think differently. That's fine. But when it gets to the point where it's becoming heated, where it's going to be a situation now where you're getting angry, then that's the time to call a timeout. Yeah, the time to say, okay, enough. Let us agree to disagree. The scripture is clear. It says, be angry, but sin not. So you can get angry over something. Sometimes things happen, and it really, really cuts you when you see it. Like, for example, when I read some of these things in the paper, I get angry. You understand? It's righteous indignation, is what it's called. You understand? But you do not sin. You get what I'm saying to you? And if you are in a relationship with somebody, and if you, both of you get angry because of whatever occurred, or when you get angry, doesn't matter. And you see night come down, you're not supposed to go to your bed still angry with the person. You understand? At some point in time before you go to bed, I always wonder and I keep asking the question. I don't know, how is it that a man can abuse a woman and go to his bed and sleep at night? I ask the question all the time and I still can't understand. Because I'm telling you, and I love the Lord with all my heart, with all my soul, and I know I must turn the other cheek. You understand? And I know that I must walk an extra mile. But there's no way that says, I have read where it said I must be abused by a man and I must take it. I don't see it, And I'm telling you, I could never live with a man who abused me because I don't know how he would sleep at night. But how do you abuse men and go to bed? Hmm? Seriously speaking, you better sleep with one eye open. You would have to sleep with one eye open. Seriously. So I don't understand how the women allow themselves to be abused by men and allow the men to go to sleep at night. It is why the Lord said you must not let the sun go down on your wrath. You must make up with each other before nightfall. Before you go to bed, you go to bed. You must go to bed in peace and love and unity. So who must say I'm sorry? Say I'm sorry. Who must forgive? Say I forgive you, and you make up. You understand? And if you're in a loving relationship, you understand, with your husband or your wife, then you have lovely makeup sex. Absolutely, God created sex. You understand? God in His infinite wisdom. He knew it would come in handy. It was a handy tool to be used for the right purpose. You understand? In marriage, absolutely. So you have lovely makeup sex. Absolutely, but you can't be going to your bed and both of you are angry and both of you are basically at odds with each other. No, that doesn't work. Absolutely not. Yeah. How I don't know even how people keep malice. How do you keep malice in home? You both stay under the same roof and you're not talking to each other. How does that really work? How does it work? And usually when you see these things happening, guys, it's escalation. It escalates from one to the next thing. They said you have the cup and the cup's full. I take one drop of water and the cup run over. That's usually what happens. Guys, listen. Love. Love, that word love, it equals God. God equals love, love equals God. It's time you'll find God. You have to. You understand me? It really, you have to, because it's only when you find God, when you have a relationship with our Heavenly Father, that you will find a decrease in these things. You're not going to find a decrease in these things happening, guys, until you learn, you understand, to have a relationship with our Father God, because He is love. God is love. And if you have God, I think I tell you all the time, if you have God in you, then you are going to love it. You automatically have. When I see these things happening, I don't have to ask a question. This is not making a judgment. It is just reality. Just see for yourself. It plays itself out. Persons who are not, you understand me, having a relationship with God, they do not have love in their hearts. Simple. You understand? So, guys, I'm encouraging you, please, 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 please. We have to learn to live better. We got to learn to love one another. And it only starts by first loving our Father, God Almighty, who created us. Yes, it's and seriously speaking, it's full time. It's full time. I mean, one of these days, I might give you a little 2 cents about into my private life, because I've been through some of these things that I'm reading about in terms of, um, abuses, different types. You understand? Been there and done that, and I am a living proof that there's life after being abused. Absolutely, there is life after being abused, right? Okay. But it's very sad for persons who, like this young lady, who can't get over, you understand, um being going through abuse. You understand, whether it's physical abuse, emotional abuse, mental abuse, verbal abuse, sexual abuse. You understand, and abuse is still abuse is abuse. So you get me. Some abuses, they have more lingering effect than others, depending on the individual, because we're all different. You understand, and we all react differently to abuse. So yeah. So I'm gonna advise and admonish you guys, right? Please, men, love women, love on your women, not beat them, not abuse them. Okay, you can't do that. And you hear this man said the reason he was raping these women because of his domestic situation. You can't, because you go what the experience you have with one woman, cause it to turn around now and abuse 8 other women. No man, that's not right. That's not right at all. And then, how do you feel about this appellate judges reducing the sentence for this guy? Hmm? How do you feel? Do you really think he should be out? Because basically, it's almost 5 years now. He's been there, and so another 5 years he will be eligible for parole after raping 8 women. How do you feel about it? Let me know in the comment, man. Let me know your comment on this. Let me know your views. How do you feel about this rapist being eligible for parole in another 5+ years? Let me know. All right, guys, that's all I'm gonna say on that matter. Lots more I could say, but yeah. And I was talking about um, abuse, sexual abuse, and this one is very close, almost very close to home, somewhat. And I'm only gonna give you a little piece of it. It's international news. The German police have detained 11 people suspected of involvement in the sexual abuse of at least three children. Prosecutors said the group used sophisticated technology to encrypt their communication and that the police secured hundreds of terabytes of video footage during raids in the western city of Munster. The main suspect is a 27-year-old computer technician whose name was not released due to privacy rules, but has two previous convictions. He has two previous convictions for distributing images of child sex abuse, the official said. The victims included his partners, listen to me, guys, his partner's 10-year-old son, a 5-year-old, and a 12-year-old. So you see, this is not endemic to Jamaica, guys. This is a problem that is international. It's a global problem that we're having with our men, guys. It's a global problem with our men we're having. We have to pray for our men because they are totally skewed. Yeah, they need prayer. They need some serious prayer, and we just don't need prayer for persons who just basically pray because we say, oh, it's a ritual to pray. I mean, people who have a relationship with God, who when they pray, they know for a fact that God hears their prayer and answers their prayer. Yeah, because they're in right standing with Him. That's the kind of prayer I'm talking about. That's the prayer that causes change. That's the only prayer will actually have an impact. You understand? When you speak to God. Huh? Yeah. Okay. I think I'm going to end here, guys. I will pick up tomorrow. Oh, I will pick up tomorrow. Oh, the last thing I would say, international news. So, in Brazil, guys, oh my God, the death rate keeps going up and up and up and up in Brazil. It's just non-stop. So to the point now where, guys, they have stopped reporting. They're not giving you the total numbers now in Brazil. When you go to the website, you can't get any information on the combined data for the number of cases in Brazil. They have stopped doing that. So all you're getting now is the new cases in a 24-hour period. That's all they're giving you. They're not telling you about anything as an aggregate, as a combined figure. You're not getting that at all. It's just, we got to pray for Brazil, guys. Oh my God. I mean, yeah, it's just crazy over there what's happening in Brazil. Yeah. All right. Okay, guys. I hope you hope you enjoyed today's program. Um, I I uh I see I went a little bit over my time by 2 minutes. Yeah. Okay. Well, guys, there's so much information and there's so much to tell you and there's so much that is going on out there in the world. We have to stay prayed up. You understand? We really have to stay prayed up and keep close to our Father God. Guys, now is at the time to drift away from God. Now is the time to draw closer to Him. Yeah, closer to Him. We have to draw closer to Him because only Him, He is the only one who can help us in these times. I'm telling you, when I went through my my theories of abuse, it's the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, man, you understand, Spirit of knowledge, who actually helped me through all of this and helped me to be here. So you can see me here like this at this point in time. You understand, totally healed of my abuses of the past. Been there and done that, as I said to you guys. Yeah, and that's what happens when you have a relationship with God. He's a healer. Um, and so He will heal us of all infirmities, no matter what kind, whether it's physical, spiritual, or emotional, or otherwise. You understand? He's there to help us. That's what he does. He heals us, right? He heals our mind, our body, our spirit. Yeah. And so, I really implore you guys to have a relationship with him. That's the only thing that's going to help us during these difficult times that we're going through. We're going through COVID-19 pandemic. We're going to be fine. Our women are in the midst of all of that, are going through all of these, abuses, right? Domestic violence, right? Our children are going through all of these domestic violence. They're being shot, they're being raped, they're being, I mean, guys, we need prayer. We need to pray a lot. I know some people don't understand the power of prayer and they're against prayer, but I'm telling you from experience, prayer actually works. It does work. I'm telling you from experience, prayer works. The effectual, fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. The problem, why it seems, guys, as if it's not working sometimes, because remember, sometimes we don't even know how to pray. We don't know how to pray. So we're supposed to depend on the Holy Spirit. You understand? But many of us don't do because we don't have a relationship with him. And that's the problem, having a relationship. Right? You have a parent, all truth is parallel. You have a parent, if you do not have a relationship with that parent, then guess what? The parent can't do anything for you. You understand? So you have to develop a relationship with your child and with your parent and with your family and your friends. You understand? They say you seek a friend before you need a friend. That's how it works, guys. You understand? Yeah. I know it's a bit heavy today. I really know it was heavy today, but I hope you were able to survive it. Thank you guys for watching. I see my thumbs up. Thank you for my thumbs up. Keep my thumbs up coming, guys. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. I thank you for spending this hour with me. As I said, I don't take it for granted. I really appreciate you. Now remember to share, like, share, and comment. Okay, always do that, guys, and subscribe to the YouTube channel Omega News. All right. Okay. And remember, I'm also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, Omega News JA. Okay, guys. So until I see you tomorrow I am back to 12 noon. You know, it's Monday, second day this new week. And during the week, I'm on at midday, right? Unless something happens, and then I will tell you that I've changed the time, but it's usually noon in the week. So until I see you tomorrow, remember to, when if you're going out, to keep on practicing, right? This physical distance, guys, not social distance, physical distancing, because we're more social, and it's one of the problems we're having. It's this kind of pandemic, guys, and how we are relating, and we are reacting to it. It's one of the reasons we're having so many problems we're having, because what, we are acting as if, persons are not human beings, and we're socially distancing ourselves from them. And as a result of which, it makes it easier for you to abuse a person, because if you do not think a person is a human, then you will not treat them with in a humane way. We'll treat them inhumanely. You understand? Yeah. So we have to see people as human beings, and see them as, people that God has created, God's creation, and then we will understand that you can't abuse them. Yeah. So guys, let us go out there in this upcoming week, showing love and compassion to our fellow men. Remember, we are human beings. We're all in this together. We are one race, one human race. Okay, not many races, but one human race. And let us go out there and treat each other with love and compassion. Okay. Okay. All right, my darlings. It was a pleasure being with you today. I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. So, as always, I say, stay blessed and be a blessing. God love you, and so do I. Mwah. Bye.